Hello everyone, it's Spurs Radio 96 here, and welcome to the 19th episode of the FIFA 18 Zenit St. Petersburg Garima. We begin today's episode with the second leg of the Europa League semi-final here at the Krastovsky Stadium against Real Madrid. As you can see there by the table, we lost the reverse leg, the first leg at the Santiago Bernabeu by Roberto Firmino's sole goal. That's given Real Madrid a little bit of an edge in going into the second leg of the tie. The other semi-final, Arsenal also lead the same scoreline after they beat Olympique de Marseille at the Emirates Stadium. And the top scorer, the player to watch is no doubt Alexandra Kokorin, who is top of the Europa League goal-scoring charts with 10 goals, 2 more than Çalhanoğlu of AC Milan. He was very quiet in the game against Real Madrid. Real Madrid defensively were excellent. We just couldn't break them down. We had 2 or 3 chances. We had 2 pretty good chances, but we just couldn't quite take them in at those moments. The first team will come into play for this match once again against Real Madrid. No doubt we have to be better. We were a bit too direct and a bit too... Real Madrid found us out pretty easily, in terms of our build-up play and how we wanted to play against him in that match. I was a bit too nervous, no doubt, because, European semi-final away at Real Madrid, no doubt, is, it's going to get your nerves up a bit, isn't it? And the fans know that we need to win this match to have any chance of going through to our first European final since 2008. And the Real Madrid lineup is exactly the same as it was in the first leg at the Santiago Bernabeu. We come on to the first half highlights here, the 15th minute. Aliola does a through ball. Throws the ball to Druzy wonderfully, and Kokorin's up front in space, and he's given his wonderful through ball from Druzy to Kokorin, and Kokorin's got the pace past Marcelo and Varane, and Alexandra Kokorin has scored against Real Madrid, a highlight of his career, and Zenit St. Petersburg lead against Real Madrid in the second leg, and the aggregate scoreline is 1-1. Zenit St. Petersburg are believing, the fans are believing again, that maybe we have a chance of beating Real Madrid, not just in this match, but in maybe the whole tie as well on the aggregate scoreline. Wonderful strike from Kokorin past Kulu Navas, or whatever his name is, Navas, and managed to strike it beautifully into the bottom right or left corner of the net. And Marcelo and Varane couldn't keep up with the pace of Kokorin, and Alexandra Kokorin's got his 11th goal in the Europa League, and it's Zenit St. Petersburg 1, Real Madrid 0 on the night. It's 1-1 on aggregate. On to the 31st minute. Fantastic build-up play. Now Kokorin's from Zenit St. Petersburg. Kokorin's got the ball coming onto the edge of the box. A bit crowded out there. Crosses it in towards Druzy. Oh, is it the crossbar? What a header that was from Druzy for a chance. What a chance it was to extend Zenit St. Petersburg's lead and probably put them in front in this tie. And there goes the half-time whistle. Real Madrid, look at that, they look exhausted. We have really given them a run for the money. We've been hustling them all the way, creating chances. Real Madrid's defence has been exploited way too many times, and we've been certainly the better team in the first half. It's 1-0 at that stage. On to the 69th minute. Good build-up play. Another fantastic build-up play from Zenit St. Petersburg again. And Kokorin gives it to Druzy. Now Druzy giving it to Kokorin. He's gone down for Marcelo, and it's a penalty to Zenit St. Petersburg, and Marcelo is in trouble. What a mistake for Marcelo. He's brought Alexandra Kokorin down in the box in the penalty area, and Zenit St. Petersburg have a penalty. As you can see, Kokorin was about to take a strike, and Marcelo just gets in the way really, and Luka Modric is coming on off the bench in the place of Marcus Llorente. Now this is a golden opportunity for Zenit St. Petersburg. This is one of the biggest moments of not only our European tie against Real Madrid, but of the entire season. We've had 8 or 9 penalties. We've converted pretty much most of them, apart from Kokorin, who's about to step up to the penalty, who missed. I don't know who it is against, but here he comes, and he's done it. And Alexandra Kokorin has scored against Real Madrid again. 2 on the night. Zenit St. Petersburg 2, Real Madrid 0. It's 2-1 on aggregate, and as it stands, Real Madrid are going out of the Europa League, and we'll be going through to our first European final in 10 years, and the fans go crazy. Kokorin composed from the penalty spot. Navas didn't move. Kokorin thunders it into the net. What a strike that is from Kokorin, and what a huge moment that is in the season of Zenit St. Petersburg in the career mode. And we are absolutely delighted, and so are the jubilant fans, not in the stadium but in St. Petersburg and around the world. Kokorin's 12th goal in the Europa League He is on fire against Real Madrid, and Real Madrid have shot themselves in the foot. It is Zenit St. Petersburg 2, Real Madrid 0. The score is 2-1 on aggregate. Real Madrid have given the ball away again. Druzzi gives the ball to Rigoni, and Coquelin's on the attack. He's going forward. Oh, Rigoni might have a chance here. He's in acres of space. Oh, it's at the post. And Varane clears his lines. Real Madrid are all over the place defensively. They don't know who to mark at the moment. And there goes the final whistle. It's Real Madrid who are out of the Europa League. It's Zenit St. Petersburg's first ever victory against Real Madrid, I believe. And they advance to their first European final since 2008. What a magnificent achievement from Zenit St. Petersburg. A magnificent achievement. Wow, that is a sensational result. Beating the European champions Real Madrid 2-0 on the night and 2-1 on aggregate. A fantastic performance from Zenit St. Petersburg. We come on to the second game of the episode, and we will return to Russian Premier League action once again at the Krasnodarsky Stadium, where we will be facing Rubin Kazan. Now, of course, in the past few Premier League games, we have been falling backwards a little bit. We lost at home against CSKA Moscow, our first home defeat of the entire season. And then we lost again away against our nearest rivals, Lokomotiv Moscow, to put the title race firmly back on the map for them. And then we drew away against Arsenal Tula. We managed to get a draw in that one, with Polos scoring the goal. As you can see there, both Lokomotiv Moscow and Zenit St. Petersburg have played the same number of games. Zenit St. Petersburg have 62 points, I think 5 points more, 5 points ahead of Lokomotiv Moscow. So all we got to do now is, if we win this match or any other match towards the end of the season, we will be champions of the Russian Premier League. It's just a case of when we will be champions of the Russian Premier League. I've got to take no risks with this one. The first team has to come into play, even though they're probably short of stamina and energy after that fantastic performance against Real Madrid. We come on to the first half highlights now, and of course Christian Nuber, who's given the ball away to Regani, is on loan from St. Petersburg, and Coquelin has a chance, and he's taken it, and Alexander Coquelin has scored against Rubin Kazan, and Zenit St. Petersburg lead past 24 minutes, and as it stands, Zenit St. Petersburg will be Russian Premier League champions. That doesn't sound too bad. And Christian Nuber, of all the players, has given the ball away to Rigoni and laid it on a plate to Coquelin, who manages to take the strike, very calm and composed with the finish, past the keeper, and Zenit St. Petersburg lead again for the second time in this episode. Unbelievable. And Alexander Coquelin's now got 20 Russian Premier League goals. He is absolutely on fire. His little drought has ended. After the last episode, he didn't score at all, and it's Zenit St. Petersburg 1, Rubin Kazan 0 at that stage, and there goes the half-time whistle. We've been substantially better than Rubin Kazan, and this is kind of like a dress rehearsal, really, because the next game, which we will play against Rubin Kazan again, but in the Russian Cup finals. It's been a bit of a dress rehearsal, and we can understand, we can analyse, and get a feeling of how Rubin Kazan will play, probably in the Russian Cup final. But we need to forget about the Russian Cup final in this moment, because we're leading 1-0 at the Krasnodarsky Stadium, and as you can see there in the half-time results, CSKA Moscow are leading Lokomotiv Moscow 1-0, and FC Krasnodar leading 3-0 against FC Tosno. So as it stands, even if we draw or lose against Rubin Kazan, Lokomotiv Moscow are losing, which means we will be champions regardless if CSKA Moscow can beat them. On to the 64th minute, and Coquelin's got the ball and is charging at the defence, and the defence is going all over the place, and Coquelin's running into the box, takes a strike, 2-0, and Alexander Coquelin has scored again. 4 goals in this episode, 2 against Real Madrid, 2 against Rubin Kazan. Is that the goal that confirms we will be the Russian Premier League champions? What a fantastic game this is for Zenit St. Petersburg. What an episode this is for Coquelin, who takes a strike and luckily manages to go in the inside of the post. And Zenit St. Petersburg lead 2-0 against Rubin Kazan. And this gives you a little bit of a... I'm getting extremely... at the time I was getting extremely confident. I'll be like, oh, what must Rubin Kazan be like when it comes to the Russian Cup final? They'll be full of fear after this performance from Kokorin. It's 2-0 to Zenit St. Petersburg and 21 goals for Alexander Kokorin. On to the 70th minute. Ragoni's running into the box. And he's going to leave it for Shatov, and it's free! It's free for Zenit St. Petersburg. And they're tearing Rubin Kazan apart past 71 minutes. Great run into the box from Ragoni with his fantastic dribbling skills and pace as well, and does another good and crosses it to Shatov, who manages to head it into the net. I think that was the I think Shatov, I haven't seen Shatov do many headers in his career mode, but he must have a good heading stack now after that kind of header. And now Zenit St. Petersburg 3-0 up against Rubin Kazan, Shatov's 4th Russian Premier League goal of the season, and this will mean that Zenit St. Petersburg are heading to Russian Premier League glory. It's 3-0 against Rubin Kazan. And when he added time, and there it is! Zenit St. Petersburg are Russian Premier League champions, and all the players of Zenit St. Petersburg will celebrate on the pitch, and the camera crew get to work capturing the scenes of joy. Kazan, well, I don't know why they're on the floor, but it's probably blown their hopes of getting a Europa League spot, as they were, I think, 6th or 7th in the league, battling Dynamo Moscow for P6 in the league. But it doesn't matter. Look at the players celebrating. The best team in Russia is Zenit St. Petersburg. Excuse me for getting a bit carried away. And then look at the players coming up to onto the podium, where there is the Premier League trophy. Years of heartache for Zenit St. Petersburg. I don't think they've won the Russian Premier League for a long time. They know how important this is, and Witzel's going to lift the trophy, and Zenit St. Petersburg are the Russian Premier League champions. Let the party begin. And in this episode we have our first trophy of the season in the career mode, and the fans celebrate. And what a trophy it is to celebrate Russian Premier League champions. It's been a long time for Zenit St. Petersburg since they've won the Russian Premier League, the first time in 3 years since 2015, 14-15 season to be exact. And the players go on to celebrate around the pitch with the fans. And what a moment this is in the players' careers. This is surely something to put on their CVs, and a moment to cherish for the rest of their lives, to tell their future granddaughters and to tell their families. And what a result this is. Russian Premier League champions. We've pretty much dominated the league, but we did stutter towards the end to put the title race back in Lokomotiv Moscow's hands in some context. But that's all over now. Zenit St. Petersburg are the Russian Premier League champions. As you can see by the full-time result, Lokomotiv Moscow did fight back to a 1-1 draw, but it wasn't enough for us in the title race. FC Krasnodar won 5-0 against FC Tosno. That probably jumps them up to second in the league. Wow. And as you can see there by the news page here, as you can see, there's a picture of me and Regani in the press conference with the Russian Premier League trophy, and an outstanding achievement for me in this career mode. I'm very happy to win the league by that comfortable margin in the end, even though we did stutter towards the end. But we're putting that to the side. Here comes another big fixture. We will be facing against Rubin Kazan again in the Russian Cup final. As you can see, that's the way Rubin Kazan got to the final, beating Akhmat Grozny, SKA Khabarovsky, and the holders Lokomotiv Moscow. We beat CSKA Moscow 4-1, I think. Wow, I can't even remember. I think it was a 4-1 thrashing of CSKA Moscow. Then we beat Arsenal Tula in the quarter-final with the secondary team, and then we beat FC UFA in the semi-final 3-2, also with the secondary team. Kokorin, as you can see, 4 goals in the past. I think it was 2 matches or whatever. I couldn't remember the statistic. But yeah, but he's absolutely on fire. No doubt he'll be eager to score for one of Russia's biggest prizes, the Russian Cup final. This is basically the Russian equivalent of the FA Cup final, a huge day in the Russian football calendar. And yeah, no doubt this is a huge tie. And Rubin Kazan, obviously, absolutely well beaten as we won the Russian Premier League title. No doubt that they will be surely working hard on the training ground back at their home base preparing for arguably their biggest game. They haven't won a trophy in quite a while, and yeah, the first team comes into play for the third match running. No doubt they'll be short of they'll be short of short of energy and stamina after playing huge ties. Confirming our place in the Europa League final, beating Real Madrid and then beating Rubin Kazan to win the Russian Premier League trophy, and now we've got the Russian Cup final. There's Rubin Kazan's lineup. Obviously the standout names: Popov, Mogleves, and Christian Nuber, of course, on loan from Zenit St. Petersburg. And yeah, they've gone for a very conventional and defensive system formation there, but no doubt this is the Russian Cup final. Anything can happen. On to the 9th minute now, and it started brightly. Rubin Kazan. Here's Enak, and he's given the ball away, and Mogleves gives it to Popov, is in space, and he's given it to Mogleves. Good save from Areola there. Nuber's got the ball now. Zenit Kazan is still in play, and Nuber's going to have a chance in. He drifts and turns. Oh, Rubin Kazan have put a shock on the Russian Cup final. The first shock on the final goes to Rubin Kazan. Christian Nuber, the player on loan from Zenit St. Petersburg, has put Rubin Kazan in front in the Russian Cup final. A complete utter shock around the stadium. Joy from the Rubin Kazan fans. And Rubin Kazan lead against Zenit St. Petersburg. Christian Nuber just danced his way pretty much, twisting and turning and dribbling his way into the box. And with a lovely composed finish from Christian Nuber, and what a blow that is from our side. We're 1-0 down against Rubin Kazan in the Russian Cup final. Something completely unexpected. Christian Nuber's third goal in the Russian Cup. And very ironic when he scored against us as well. On to the 33rd minute. The goalkeeper, and Grant is given it away from Alexander Kokorin. He takes a strike. Oh, and Zenit St. Petersburg level in the Russian Cup final. What a horrible mistake from Rubin Kazan's defensive point of view. The goalkeeper had a goal kick. I don't know who gave it away. I don't know who it was, but look at that. Gave the ball away into the hands of Kokorin and strikes on his left foot, on his weak foot, and manages to get past the keeper, and it goes into the net. And Zenit St. Petersburg level in the Russian Cup final. Alexander Kokorin scores again. I think that's 5 goals in this episode now, and the players go on the LED boards to celebrate with the fans. Alexander Kokorin's only his second goal in the Russian Cup. That's how much the second team been dependent in this cup run. And it's 1-1 in the final against Rubin Kazan, and Shatov has a chance in the added time of the first half, and the keeper makes a good save there, and Cesar Navas clears his lines for Rubin Kazan. And that's half time. Well, we started awfully with an awful start, and Rubin Kazan exploited our weaknesses there. We just weren't awake in the first few minutes there. We didn't turn up. Christian Nuber with the goal, but we managed to level it after an awful defensive error from Rubin Kazan, the goalkeeper and the defender in particular. And we've been dominating since, but we just couldn't be able to break them down. It's 1-1 at half time. On to the 50th minute now, and we're much better than Rubin Kazan at that in the second half. We started extremely brightly, and that was Guzev who took an ambitious effort out the box. Had to take a strike really because of a defender that was coming in, and yeah, he had to take a strike. It was an ambitious effort and a good effort as well. We've got the ball back from Rubin Kazan, and Druzy does one of his unique through balls in towards Kokorin, and Kokorin has a chance. Good save from, I think it's Drazanev, or Drazanov, or Drazanev. I think that's how you call the keeper. I don't know his name. And immediately Rubin Kazan have to call in a substitute because we're just dominating in the second half, creating chances all the while. Corner for St. Petersburg. Kuzev takes it, and chaos at the back. Druzy! Oh, hits the crossbar. What a chance for Sebastian Druzy to take the lead in the Russian Cup final. Oh, has to score. Point blank range there. And disappointed there with Druzy's effort. Hits the crossbar. And we're coming on to the last minute of the second half here. The last time of full time. It could go on to extra time. Paredes has given it to Kokorin, and he's got support from Dragoni. Kokorin is going to take a strike. Dresnev kicks it out. Oh, and Paredes has scored in the added time of the Russian Cup final to put Zenit St. Petersburg in front, and Zenit St. Petersburg are going to win the Russian Cup in the added time. Whoa, what a blow for Rubin Kazan. They've defended extremely well, and the fans of Rubin Kazan can't believe it. Kokorin ran into the box 4. He's going to pass it to Rigoni. Keeper saves. Manages to parry it away, but sadly it was in. But the ball went to Paredes, who manages to get the ball. Takes a strike, and look, it deflected off a defender. Oh, how embarrassing. What a shame for Rubin Kazan. But what joy for Zenit St. Petersburg. Leonardo Paredes has scored his second goal of the Russian Cup through a deflected strike, through a deflected effort. And Zenit St. Petersburg lead 2-1 right at the very end of the Russian Cup final. And there goes the full-time whistle. And Kazan have broken hearts from Rubin Kazan fans. And the Kazan players can't believe they've blown it right at the death with seconds to spare. And Zenit St. Petersburg have won the Russian Cup. They have man right at the death. No doubt Rubin Kazan put in a much better performance than they did in the second game of the episode where we faced them in the league at the Krasnovsky Stadium. The players celebrate a unique achievement in their careers. 2 trophies for Zenit St. Petersburg, or known to most football fans as the double. Zenit St. Petersburg have won the double, and look at the smile of Kokorin there. And Witsel has the unique privilege of stepping up onto another podium as the captain to lift another trophy for Zenit St. Petersburg. We lift the Russian Premier League, and now we're about to lift the Rossiyski Kubok, the Russian Cup. St. Petersburg were lucky, but it doesn't matter. They are the Russian Premier. They are the Russian Cup winners. 2 cups for Zenit St. Petersburg in this episode. A truly unique achievement. A huge effort from the players in this episode. 3 tough games against Real Madrid, against Rubin Kazan, and twice in fact against Rubin Kazan, to win the Russian Premier League and now to win the Russian Cup. And the players celebrate with the fans in this huge stadium. Well, I don't know what the stadium is domestically in the game. I think it's a Stadion Oplank or whatever it is. I don't know what it's called. But what a huge achievement from the players. 2 trophies, in some of them, of course, their first seasons with Zenit St. Petersburg. They come to this, Zenit St. Petersburg brought these players in to get Zenit St. Petersburg back to these good times, winning trophies, dominating championships, dominating teams, scoring loads and loads of goals. And Zenit St. Petersburg are the Russian Cup winners. Fantastic. And no doubt the board is going to be pleased with this, winning the Russian Premier League and the Russian Cup in no time at all. Look at the Russian Premier League game for the at the end of this episode. As you can see, we are confirmed as the Russian Premier League winners. 19 wins, 8 draws, 2 defeats. Goal difference 50. We still have the best offensive record in the league, scoring 54 goals, level with FC Krasnodar now, who also won 54. We have the best defensive record in the league, conceding 15 goals, 65 points. No one can catch us now. And if we win the last game of the season, we could have 68 points and have maybe double-figure point lead against our maybe Lokomotiv Moscow or FC Krasnodar. As you can see, they're both second and third, both level on 57 points. It's going to be interesting there to see who will finish second and third for Champions League places. Look, it's also a good battle for 4th place between other 2 Moscow clubs of CSKA and Spartak Moscow. CSKA Moscow are 4th with 53 points, 2 points ahead of Spartak Moscow, are 5th with 51 points. Dynamo Moscow have confirmed themselves a Europa League place. They are 6th with 43 points. They can't catch Spartak Moscow, but they can't be caught. But Dynamo Moscow can't be caught either. They have 43 points. In a great achievement for Dynamo Moscow, especially since they're being a promoted club as well. Rubin Kazan will be disappointed to lose the Russian Cup final, and even more disappointed that they can no longer catch Rubin Kazan. Dynamo Moscow, mathematically, they're 7th with 38 points, and they're still in danger from 8th and 9th place teams, FC UFA and Anzi Makanella, who are both on 36 points. Arsenal FC Ural are 10th with 34 points, 2 points ahead of FC Tosno. FC Rostov are P12 with 31 points. Have had a disappointing season up to this point, of course, with 1 more game to go. Arsenal, Tula and Akhmat Grozny are 13th and 14th with 28 place. Amkar Perm, if there was a second league, Russian league in FIFA 18, Amkar Perm would be relegated, also with SKA Khabarovsky. Amkar Perm are with 15th with 24 points, 6 wins, just 30 goals scored, 48 goals conceded, the worst defensive record in the league. SK Khabarovsky at bottom with just 2 wins, 16 defeats, 23 goals scored, 45 goals conceded. Disastrous seasons for Amkar Perm and SK Khabarovsky. And that's who we're going to be facing as we look at the Europa League table. That's who we're going to be facing in the Europa League final. Arsenal. Wow, what a fixture that's going to be. Arsene Wenger's last ever game in charge of Arsenal is going to be a European final. Incredible. And it's ironic as well, because the last time we won the Europa League in 2008 was at Manchester City's Etihad Stadium, and against a club within the regions of, you know, the British parameters, is a Scottish side, Rangers. So that's ironic, isn't it? And I believe the final is actually going to be taking place at West Ham United's London Stadium, which is kind of ironic, isn't it? So hopefully we'll be able to win the Europa League final. Hopefully. Well, look at the next preview of the next episode. We'll round off our Russian Premier League campaign against bottom club SK Khabarovsky with a secondary team. And then we'll be going to London, West Ham United Stadium. We'll be playing Arsenal in the Europa League final. You've got to watch that episode. So yeah, I just want to say thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time. Take care.